Welcome to 1821 AV Training. (1821) has been recently renovated with new audiovisual systems. These systems include new digital and analog inputs for laptops at the lectern, new touch panel at the lectern, new AV components in the lectern rack, including the Blu-ray player and the Denon audio recorder, new high brightness, wide aspect projection screens, new high brightness, wide aspect projectors, and most importantly, new video conferencing systems. The system always had two screens, and we have the ability to route any source to either screen. For example, right now I've got my laptop in the HDMI input and routed to both projection screens. I can also route things like the document camera to both screens. I can also route things like the Blu-ray player to one screen and the cable TV tuner to another screen.
Right there.
Another feature that we have on this touch panel is we have a swap feature and a blank feature. The swap feature allows us to, well, first of all, the blank feature allows us to blank both screens, which I've just done. I can unblank them, and I can swap those sources so that the sources swap projectors. And that's handy if you're in a video conference, for example, and they want the far end on a different screen and you on a different screen than you're currently on. When we look at video conference, once you select video conference, it automatically routes the far end to the right screen and the near end to the left. So that's me, and that would be my far end participants. If I wanted to change that, I could simply use the swap button to change that. And there we go. If I wanted to start a presentation, I'll go to my presentation tab on the video conferencing page, and I'll select my HDMI input, and it'll start sending across the call my laptop. And my laptop is also being shown here natively, and I'm seeing the far end on this screen. So we have a new touch panel here in 1821. It's absolutely similar and almost exactly the same layout as the touch panel in 1600 in the training rooms. So let's take a look at it. So here is the panel, and again, it looks just the same as all the others. We've got a room controls page, which shows us our display controls, our lighting controls, our projection screen controls, our system on and off controls, our shades up and down. One thing that's a little different in this room is that there's two projection screens. So projector 1 is the projector on my left, presenter left. Projector 2 is the projector on my right, presenter right. And we've got the on and off controls for the projector if I wanted to turn off the projectors for some reason but still use the audio system. I can also change the aspect ratio to normal or stretch to fill the whole screen or blank an individual projector. I can bring the shades down if I would like to lessen the light, the outside light in here, or bring them up, and change the lighting presets. And the screens, if I bring those up or down, they will actually also bring the projection screen, turn the projectors on and off. So that's room controls. We've got our sources on the left, just like every other room. The HDMI and the VGA are the inputs on this local plate. And you'll notice that there's a pop-out that comes out that says projector 1 and projector 2. So I can select VGA to go to projector 1, and then cable TV tuner to go to projector 2. And you'll see that it updates its status. So projector 1 shows VGA, and projector 2 shows cable. That works for all of the sources, document camera, Blu-ray player, and send them to either projector, except for video conference. When you select video conference, that pop-up doesn't happen because the video conferencing system has two outputs, and they go to both screens at the same time. The right screen would be the far end participants, and the left screen is the near end participants. The auxiliary is the floor box in the rear of the room. And I can select that. If I have two sources selected, for example, here I have HDMI on projector 1 and projector 2 I have the auxiliary, and I want to swap them, I don't have to reroute them. I can use this nice function on here. It just says swap, and now that will change which projector has which source. I can also blank both screens, so both screens go dark while a presenter is queuing up another PowerPoint, for example. Much like the other rooms, we have an audio recorder that can be used to used to record, and you'll see a recording in progress, and you can stop that and play it back right in the room. We've got teleconference, which has all the same UI functions as the other room, has speed dial, where you can hold and enter in a new entry just by entering in, putting your finger in that field, and you'll get a pop-up for the name and the contact number. And then video conferencing. Video conferencing has the dialer and controller pages, just like all rooms, including the compass features and the multifunction features that show up across the bottom of the on-screen display. We have the speed dial page, camera controls. For near cameras, I've got my rear and my front, where I can use zoom and focus, pan and tilt. Or far end, where these gray out, and I can control the camera at the far end of the conference call if it's enabled. Presentation, if I want to send a presentation across the call, I simply select that source I want to send, and it'll show up on both screens. And then layouts, I can turn my self view on or change any of my video local family layouts. To exit the system and turn it off, I can do so two ways. I can go to room controls and turn the power off there, or I can hit the exit button, and it'll ask me if I want to continue working or go or shut down the system. So now I've selected video conference. The right-hand side to my right is where the menu will come up, and eventually the far-end participant if we're in a call. The left side shows our camera view, giving us a sense of confidence of where the camera is currently located. The camera controls will allow us to recall presets to widen that shot so we can get more participants in the room, or square up the shot, zoom in, what have you. If I'm ready to present a source, I can just select HDMI, which is my laptop, and now that is actually going across the call, and it's being displayed locally for us. And here on my right, now I have a PIP of myself, and the far end would still be on this screen. So this is a nice feature because you don't have to actually send your presentation, then go route your laptop to the screen. It just automatically goes across the call and also shows up on the appropriate screen. If you want to see your presentation on both screens, you can certainly make that route easily by just sending it natively to both screens. Again, if you want to fill the whole screen, you go to Room Controls. We'll stretch both those screens, and now they fill the entire screen. So as I mentioned, you can send any source to any display or any source to both displays. So how does audio work? The way audio works is that whatever the last source was routed will be the audio source for the room. So right now, cable TV is on both screens, and its audio is coming through the room. If I select Blu-ray and send it to the screen on my right, projector 2, now the audio will be the Blu-ray. So whatever the last source you selected will be the source that is coming through the audio system. Advanced controls. Advanced controls allow you to have control over audio levels, so I can control the video conference send level, the telco send level, which is the teleconference, audio teleconference, electromic, or any of the 3 wireless mics. There's 3 wireless lapel/handheld receivers. And the advanced routing page allows me to select a projector and quickly route a source to it. The rack has the assisted listening transmitter, the existing 3 wireless mic channels, the main 8x8 DM switch, the Crestron processors, the patch point for all the DM, which isn't patchable, it's just brought here as a demarcation, our control switch, camera extenders, our Tamberg video conferencing codec, Cisco actually, our Claire 1 audio teleconferencer, our power conditioner, our audio DSP, and finally our audio amplifier. None of these have to be adjusted by anyone typically on a regular basis. The rear room floor box has 6 microphone inputs for table microphones, boundary microphones that are not sound reinforced, has normal convenience power, and it has one DM HG connection. The DM connection is not for a lectern, it's for a portable transmitter box like this one, where you could plug in a laptop, HDMI, or BGA, and present from the rear of the room. There are 6 boundary microphones that are not reinforced locally in the room through the loudspeakers that are plugged into the rear floor box that we just showed you. There's also assisted listening transmitters, 4 of them, that you can turn on, put over your right earlobe, and hear all program, including all mics, video conference, audio conference, and any program. This room has 3 cases of transmitters, wireless transmitters, labeled mic 1, 2, and 3. In each one of these cases, you've got a wireless handheld and a wireless lapel microphone. The handheld microphone is turned on from the bottom, and you cannot use both mic 2 handheld and lavalier at the same time. So in this case, it's just the handheld. But if I turn it off, I can put it away and turn on the lavalier and use the lavalier. Okay. So the floor box connection for this lectern is exactly the same. You got your twist lock plug for power. You got a little carabiner so that if someone pushes the lectern, they won't rip the cables. And your microphone, your DM connections, and your recording outputs. And pretty much this doesn't move. Gets covered up. That's how it looks now. And again, this lectern may get struck. If it's struck, it's plugged in the same way it's plugged in everywhere else. Everything's labeled. You just line up the inputs. Got a new existing rack in the back there with new equipment. None of it you need to mess with. We've got a new rear camera in the back of the room. We've got a new front camera right here. The old camera location is now our placard that says we have ALS, assisted listening. That is the box right near Troy where he's plugged into. And that just has 6 microphone inputs like the middle box in 1600 and 1 DM connection so that you can put a laptop back there and route to the screens. All right, we got the same wall speakers. These wall speakers are your program. That's where Star Wars was coming from. And then the ceiling speakers existing are from where audio conferencing, video conferencing is coming from as well. All right, so the touch panel, same thing. Touch the logo. Did you guys get handouts? They didn't print handouts, did they? Well, I had handouts so if you want to take notes, but I think you guys know this pretty good now. So this is the main page. There's 2 displays in here, 2 new 6,000 lumen projectors. So on the room controls page, the projector 1 and projector 2 is from my point of view. I'm looking at the screen. So projector 1 is on my left and projector 2 is on my right. So if I want to blank projector 1, that goes blank. If I want to blank projector 2, that goes blank. If I want to change the aspect ratio to normal, that's number 1, that's number 2. If I want to stretch it, I can stretch it. So same controls, 1 shade control for that window, the lighting presets, screen up and down, which will turn the projectors off, and then the advanced controls, which we'll go over a little bit later. So the new thing here in this room is that we want to keep the same UI, but we have 2 screens, and we can put different sources on different screens. So if you select HDMI or VGA, the first thing that's going to pop up is this little pop-out says, which projector do you want, projector 1 or projector 2? And it'll show you which is going where. So if I wanted to put cable tuner on projector 2, it's going to come up there.
That's wrong. Okay, which one
Great question. It's the last source selected. So if I go back to my computer, I just muted the audio right now. But whatever, if I put up Blu-ray over here, Blu-ray is now the audio.
So if you set up...
What? Uh-oh. We're going to war.
And we're going to achieve our goal. We are going to degrade our not 20 feet. High smart.
Yes, sir.
So if you're doing a video conference,
The same way we do it.
you did it first, it goes full.
Video
No, I can't. No, because the video conference audio is separate. It doesn't go through the. It's not part of the program switcher. It's a separate audio feed into the system. Is he going after him?
They killed the leader for somebody that were trying to get him into the bottom and stuff.
All right. That's a good start. Okay, so I'm going to unfortunately move on. This is kind of interesting, but. Oh man, he got tough. Almost getting tough. So HDMI VGA, that's right there on the lectern. Blu-ray player is what we were looking at earlier, Star Wars. Again, you can put it on either screen. It's going to pop out. If I select Blu-ray, so there's my VGA, same thing. If I select Blu-ray, it'll pop out again, and you just exit that little. You just hit that little red X, so it doesn't block your controls on your Blu-ray. Document camera is the. I skipped document camera. Is the existing document camera that was here. And it's old, but it works. Really? But it looks better if it's stretched. Right? And then you have the remote with all that good stuff. There's no control page for the document camera. You just select it. It does have a left-right in the sense of which projector I want to set it to. So when I hit it, it'll pop out just like we saw here. Oh, just like you saw on these other sources. Come on. Oh, VGA. Come on, HDMI. Thank you. First session is always a little slow. All right, just like you saw, Mike, when you select the HDMI VGA, these pop out. Dock camera will do the same thing. Ask you which screen you want to put it on, projector 1 or projector 2. That was probably the Blu-ray you saw. Here. Oh, the cable tuner. I'm missing a screenshot. So, yeah. So there's your cable, all the same controls. Auxiliary, I'm just jumping over video conference because that's a big one, so we'll kind of keep that for the end. Auxiliaries at the rear of the room. We got a transmitter box plugged in now. We haven't tested it this morning, so let's see if it comes up for us.
Did you do an HDMI out like 1160,
Yes. Yes, we did. So, it's what?
The clean in there, that's all.
Thank you. Well, we try to make it easy and safe to put this back on, because that's scary when you put that back on. There's cables that you're scrunching. So that's just the rear of the room. That's if there was a laptop back there. Late breaking news on this room right now, especially for those who set up for users a lot. We're going to be replacing this sub switcher that's in this lectern so that we can have two sources from the lectern to go up on the screen. We didn't have that. It got missed, so the CalPERS said they wanted it. So we're going to add that later. Not a big deal. Right now, if I try to put dock camera, which is a source from this lectern, and my laptop over here, it wouldn't work. I can only send one source from this lectern at a time to the screens because it's sub-switched here, and there's one line that goes back to that switcher. So I could do cable TV or video conferencing and mix a bunch of sources, but the ones that all live here, there's only one pipe, but that's going to change. So that'll be something we'll look forward to implementing in probably about a week.
So when you do a video conference, you can do
Yeah,
multiple.
exactly. Yep. Then we'll get to that.
Funny because you have the two different projector selections right there.
Exactly. So if you select HDMI and you've already had document camera over here, they'll both automatically populate to HDMI. But that's going to change once we get the new switcher. Yeah, because you only send one source from this lectern. But that'll change, and you'll be able to do both. So that'll be something to hopefully make some of the PERS users that have asked that happy. So yeah, swap projector and blank projector on the bottom there. So if I have two different sources, let's say I'll put the document camera on one, and I'll put the cable tuner on the right. Okay, see this? If this happens, this is HDCP. This is high definition content protection. It just means that the switcher and the cable box did not have a chance to negotiate. So usually switch away from that and switch back. Yeah, there's handshaking that goes on, and if you do it at if it's done too quickly, sometimes it's unusual to have either a green screen or a green screen or that snow. But usually it's just a switch away, switch back. There's a lot of handshaking with EDID and HDCP that happens between high-def sources. The two high-def sources in this system that have HDCP content protection from like Sony and all the studios is the cable TV tuner and the Blu-ray player. There's other high-def sources, but those are the only two that have encryption. So if you see that, don't panic. There's nothing wrong. It just means that you switch too fast, or they just need to switch away and come back. So swap. Swap does that. Swap does what? So if you want to quickly, without going back and going to advanced, we have an advanced routing page. I want this here, I want this here. That swap button that's here. That swap button just allows you to flip the screens. Whatever's on this screen will go to that screen. Whatever's on that screen will go to this screen. And then blank will blank both projectors at the same time. So if you want to do a quick blackout while you're setting up the next laptop, that's that. If you want individually blank screens, you can do it on the room controls page.
What does that do with the audio of both? Does one supersede audio over the other?
No, it's the last source routed. So if you routed Blu-ray to here, you all of a sudden hear Blu-ray. Then you go to cable TV and route it here. Now only hearing cable TV. If you hit swap, the audio will still be cable TV, but the videos will swap. All right, so the recorder. We have the audio recorder. We'll do a real quick audio recording. I've got my USB stick in there. Yes. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Test, test, test. I can just hit stop and should play back. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Test, test, test. I can just hit stop. I hate hearing my own voice. It's weird.
It sounds the same.
It does not. So you can play back your recording, and it's just the program volume. The program volume and mic volume master are the same on the right-hand side. Everyone knows how to use those. Audio conference, same deal. Same deal.
Do we need a password to get into this?
No. The only password you need is in advanced controls, and that's consistent through all of these rooms that we've done. All the training rooms, 1160, 7080, 2160, 7080, 1600, and this room. 2000. So the incoming volume is right there. If I wanted to raise or lower the level of the incoming volume. See if anyone's answering my office.
Good morning to the technology group, Derek.
Good morning, Eric's Mark.
Hey Mark, how's it going?
I'm in a training.
How's everybody doing today?
They're having so much fun. I had a hotel incident today where I woke up and I realized that the socks I had rolled up look the same when they're inside out, but it's total Patch Adams for me today. I'm kind of having a Patch Adams day. All right, anyway, so I got 2 more of these. So We'll be calling you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yesterday we were doing a little demo for investments in the MG.
Mm-hmm.
Put in our conference number, 913. They dial code. But we were on speed dial.
I don't know. I have to take a look at that. Yeah, it might have been.
We did it again,
It worked.
and then it worked. So it was like the last
Huh.
number was stuck in
That is weird. Well, so theoretically, I've got my number right now. I've got that number. That's my office in there in my field right now. So I'm going to you hit the clear button. You cleared that field out and you put in your number in. It was blank. So let's call someone's cell phone. Whose cell phone works? Yeah. Want to call yours?
879.
So 191. What's it? 916? Oh yeah. So that's right. So backspace 9 879 0566. That sounded like less numbers. Hi, Code Technology, can I help you? Took a long time, huh? So I don't know, Mike. If that happens again, let me know.
Go ahead.
I'll clear that out so no one calls you again. I'll clear that out so no one calls you again. So Coda, I use Coda as like a speed dial save. You just hold that. For someone that says I want to program a bridge call in there, you just push one of those blank fields, hold it down. You get a little keyboard that pops out. Did I show that? Well, a keyboard will pop out. You just type in the name and the number and hit save, and then it'll be populated. That's ours. That's what it looks like when it's saved. Yes.
You changed the logo for the phone on the main page. Why not change it there?
I thought Joe was missing today, but I guess he's not. Oh, yes, you are right, sir. That's another no. We got to change. We have a star phone we changed from the main page. That's a good catch. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it's just if you look at the logos here, we changed teleconference to have a star phone because it was like an old handset dialer, rotary dial thing. And we also put on room controls the knife, Swiss Army knife. We actually put text room controls because a lot of people didn't know what a Swiss Army knife was. And some users may actually go, oh, maybe that's where the lights are, room controls. So we changed these three icons. So that one has text, this one looks modern, and this one actually is supposed to have a USB stick on it. But yeah, that rotary phone is still on the other page.
You guys can change those.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and do that, just to keep it all consistent. All right. So we did that. We did that. Advanced controls. Enter the password 2000. You've got the VTC send volume, so the volume to the far end of a video call. The telco send volume, if you want to bump that. Rarely you'd need these, but some people ask for them. Lectern mic level, just the gooseneck mic, and the 3 wireless mics. We have 3 wireless mics that are here that are existing. And so if you needed a little bit more volume on these, you could do that on that page. Oops. So this slider, when it's on microphone, we'll ramp up the master volume of all the microphones. 1, 2, 1, 2. And normally you can just use that, and just whatever microphone you're using will be louder in the room. But if for some reason you need to get a specific mic louder, that's where you go. If someone's a real soft talker, or they hold their mics like this, or like this, then you maybe need to first tell them to do this, or get closer. But you could use that page to get a little more gain as well, right? And then the only other advanced controls is advanced routing. And this is going to have a couple more. It's going to have VTC2, because there's 2 outputs of our VTC. And again, you'll be able to route any one of the lectern sources to either projector with 2 simultaneously. But normally, your pop-out will work. We almost took that away, but we figured we'll leave it in there. Any questions so far?
What is VTC?
Video teleconference. I apologize for industry acronyms, but video conference, VTC, audio conference, sometimes called ATC, audio teleconference. All right. So we're kind of at the closing in on the end here. This is video conference, same thing, 5 tabs across the top. These 5 black buttons, the dialer page, the speed dial page, the camera controls, the presentation sources, and the layouts. So right now we're on the dialer page. You can see we have hang up and dial, our compass for on-screen menus, our numbers, our do not disturb, mute receive, mute send, our receive volume. So just like on the audio conference page, that receive volume will turn up or down the video participants on the far end coming into our room. F1 button's a good question. So when I'll bring up video conference. And what you'll notice is when I select video conference, no pop-up comes up on screen that says which projector do you want it on. The reason is video conference has 2, let's get that in focus. The video conference has 2 outputs. So we're saying this would be my far end screen or my main screen where I dial, and this is my local view. So it doesn't ask you where you want to put, it just has 2 outputs, and that's how we have them. We can swap them if you want them on different screens. If you want to see the far end on that screen and yourself on this screen, you can do that. When you're in a call as well, you can take it out. So the compass, so the F1 through 5, see these on-screen buttons? That's what those do. So if you're on a screen that is related to, let's get out of here. I'll do camera controls. This is if you're using, a lot of these things you don't have to do the on-screen menu, you have things, but you see right here, I've got camera presets, camera settings, main source, exit. Those F1 through 5 correlate to those buttons that come up. And their function changes, just like TiVo, you have the colored dots that change function. Yes?
Can you have far end on both screens?
You will be able to. Yes, absolutely.
Then going back to the dialer page.
Yes.
You were trying to dial video conference. And you have to hold the 1 to get the period. Mm-hmm. That was kind of difficult.
There's another way to do it.
Is there an actual shift? No, start.
Yeah, what will happen is if you get to, once you do, IP address is 4 octets, right? 4 sets of numbers. If you do, number, star, number, star, number, star, the next number you hit, all the stars will turn into dots. So I'll show you that right now. Let's do that. Because it gets laborious. So let's say I want to make a call. Oops, there we go. On this screen. So I'll just go ahead and go up here. And I'm going to do the workshop. I'm not going to call the workshop, but 10 star 8 star 5 star 3. See that all turned into dots? A lot easier. Little trick there. Let's go ahead and cancel. Cancel, just back out all those. Left arrow will get you back in the menu. And on one thing that's kind of cool here is that with the speed dial, and that's where we are next here. So in the speed dial, it works differently than the speed dial in the audio conference. In the audio conference, you push and hold that blue square, and a keyboard comes up, and you enter the information, and it's saved. It doesn't quite work like that with video conferences. You can't enter it through Crestron. It pulls it from the codec. So if I program in with my on-screen menu workshop, go back to my video conference. And this is something that if we go down to phone book, my contacts, you'll see I added LPN workshop. I did that manually with the on-screen display, or you can do it with the remote. And it shows the IP address, all this. CalPERS can push phone books. And when they do so, whenever they do so, it'll automatically populate in your Crestron touch panel. So you have to either program the contacts here manually in each room, or have telecom push phone books, which is a lot easier, and then they'll automatically in the next couple minutes show up on your speed dial page on this touch panel, which is very cool, right? Because they can change their dial plan or get rid of numbers or whatever. So that's the difference between speed dial and video conference versus audio conference. Does that make sense? Crestron saves your audio conference numbers. Telecom sends them to you, and then they show up on that speed dial page. What's that? They're sending a contact or phone books that related to video endpoints. Now, telecom, to be honest, with PERS, telecom is pretty hands off. They just have their MCU. When you have regional calls, they just kind of bring you on the call, and mostly all you're doing is answering the call. So a lot of these things, how often do you actually call 1140 manually, direct? Just when we test, right? So a lot of this will be irrelevant, but as PERS gets more sophisticated, hopefully someday, with the way they use video, they'll have more adoption, more people actually communicating with each other without just like, oh, we're doing a regional thing, telecom brings everybody in, and it's a big powwow. That's pretty much the only way they use video right now. But you have these features, that someday will be a little more relevant to this environment. So camera controls. Rear camera is that one. Front camera is this one. You got different presets, and I won't go through them all, but there's a preset programming page. You got your zoom, focus, autofocus. If it seems blurry, just hit that. It is always autofocusing, but if it was kind of blurry like it first was, just hit that and it'll sharpen up. That preset programming page allows you to change the default presets that are down below for each camera chosen. Just like in 1600. Does this ring in some bells? Does this seem familiar? Is there any questions at all? No? Okay. Then we'll keep going. Presentation sources. So this is if I want to send my laptop to the far end or a source to the far end in a call. So if I go back to video conference, we're not in a call. That would be the far end if we were in a call. Here'd be me. Well, now I'm going to present something to the other regional office. I'm going to present my laptop. And there's my laptop. You notice we're still in the call. This just turned into a PIP, which I can turn off, that self view. But this is what they're seeing, and it's what we're seeing. So we don't necessarily have to go back now and put send the laptop to the far end and then put it up on our screen. It automatically is. If it's going there, we can see it, and they can see it. So their talking heads would still be over here. So, Neil, isn't that similar in the way that you used to use it in 1821? But you had to go back and actually put the VGA on this screen, right? So now you don't have to do that. We're in a call. They're here. I'm here. They're there. I send my laptop. Now I just get small, but my laptop is going across the call right now, and it's also being displayed in here. And I can swap that. And if I don't want to see myself, I can go to the layouts page and turn myself off. Should be able to turn myself off. When you hit the self view, it toggles locations until it turns off. So see how I'm moving around? And now I'm off. That's self view. So now this is one less step because it's dual display. One less step you have to do. You don't have to actually show it, take that VGA and show it locally. If you're showing it to them, it's showing up locally for you as well.
Usually how they do it is they'll have their laptop on one bar and on the other.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point they might want to go back to their cells. Then it would be removed. It would be a picture of you up there. They don't want that. Is there any way to have it look like this at all times? But
not sending it to them? Not sending the laptop to them?
You toggle between the camera shot and laptop.
But continually sending them the presentation.
No.
Oh, okay.
You have the presentation up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Far end up all the time.
Yeah.
But what you're sending to the far end, you want to toggle.
Yes. Well, that's just stopping the presentation. So if I go back to the presentation, I'm just going to hit stop. They're not seeing it anymore.
But if you routed your laptop up there,
yes, then I still want to see it.
Stays up there.
Yeah, let's do that. So I want to still see my laptop. I'm not sending over the call now. I just took over that screen to show my laptop. I'm still on the call over here with these guys. All right. So basically, I went to the, it's time for me, I'm in the call, it's time for me to present my laptop. I go to the button that says Presentation Sources. Then I selected HDMI because I'm plugged into HDMI. Automatically goes. It takes a couple seconds to initiate, but it goes. And if I want to stop it, get my selfie back, I hit stop.
That just throws up your camera.
It just puts me back up again. And if I need to see my laptop on screen and not send it, I would just manually route that to the screen. Yeah, and then the final tab is layouts. And that's related to if telecom puts you in a big conference with a bunch of regional offices, and they say, well, we want to see the presentation from that one office that they're sending full screen. Or we want to see whoever the active speaker is talking. You can go through these different layout options, and your video will change what you see on screen until you get to what they want to see. Now, really, it's only related to more than 2 participants. If it's just me and 1140 in a test call, those don't really do much, those layouts. But if they have 3 or more parties in a call, as long as the bridge hasn't overridden the layouts, which they usually don't, you can toggle through these. And this is also where you turn self-view on. So if you're doing a presentation, that little box of you is there, and you don't want to see that little box of you where it's covering up your content, you can toggle through. It will move around the screen and turn off. So that's where self-view is. And then these ones, full screen, equal windows, big laptop, small people, and voice switched, you can use to see if the user is happy with the new video layout. Does that make sense? A lot of this stuff you have to kind of do and to be in a call and be responsible for setting it up to learn, to repeat it. And telecom right now just brings you in. They'd say, go set that room, we're doing a regional call, put the video conference on screen, and we're going to call you. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. I mean, that's pretty much the extent of it, right? With maybe sending the laptop.
They set up the layout.
Yeah.
It's a voice switch.
They kind of do, the MCU has the ability to override the layouts. But if you were to 3-point call without the MCU, or the MCU would turn off override, you could use those layouts. So that's pretty much it. You just turn the system off with the exit button, or you can go to room controls and turn off the system. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. It's as easy as that.
What's the life on that bulb?
That is a good question. Troy, do you recall? I think it's what's the life on the lamp life on those bulbs? Do you recall? I think it's close to 1,000.
And you get a notification?
Yes, with Fusion. Now, one of the nice things about, I know some of you guys were in the Fusion training we did a while ago. It was hard to implement that in a meaningful way because so many of these rooms had old code. So as we were going through and we're renovating these rooms, the code that we're putting in the processors now has the right hooks, so to speak, so that we get notifications from that control processor that projector is getting close to end of life. It goes to Fusion and will give us reports that are meaningful.
Are we going to get emails again?
Yes, but they'll mean something this time. Because what was happening was that we'd have projectors that had 81 hours on them, and they were reporting back 8181. 8,181. Because they had programmed it wrong, and we didn't have that code. It was an old contractor. So we went through and tried to get all the code, and it was a mishmash. So when it came down, they were renovating all these rooms. We said, great, this is another opportunity for us, or this is an opportunity for us to actually upgrade the code so that everything will report back to Fusion real information. So all that stuff that you saw previously will actually be finally implemented when we're done with these next rooms. We have 4 more to do, and then you'll start to see those, and we'll manage it. Mean something. I turned off the emails because they weren't meaningful. Any other questions?
Yeah, 2-part question.
Yeah.
When people get done in 1600X,
Yeah.
they unplug their laptop and they leave. The screen goes blank like this, but it looks like the bulb is faintly on.
Yeah.
Is the bulb off
No.
So that's burning bulb
That's burning bulb hours.
the whole time? Because then I leave for the day, and they're still in the room. I come in the next morning, screen's down, and that bulb is still faintly lit.
That's
so
hor-
it's just burning all night long.
Yep.
Is there any way to program these if there's no action for an hour, it'll shut the system off automatically?
Yes, we can.
I think that would be key because
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and I've talked to John about doing that either on a time basis, so that at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, it just goes through the whole campus and just says, if you're on, you're off now. We do that in the trading floor. Have you noticed that? On the trading?
Some special schedule.
yeah,
The trading floor, Fusion controls that. Have you noticed that you don't get called to? You remember those calls you used to get from the trading floor to come turn on the system or come turn on? Fusion now turns on the trading floor at 5 a.m. all the TVs and turns it off. Turns it off at 6
You're
a.m.
going to go by a time or by the lack of activity?
Well, that's what we're discussing. What do you guys think? Now, because the worst thing that would happen is if we do something and then we shut down a meeting.
Well, because in this room, they use this sometimes at night.
5:30 to 8:30.
Oh yeah. What about a party too? What if they have an impromptu party? We just gave them all these fancy things. They want to have an impromptu party. So I think that maybe a very late night, like 11 o'clock at night, but we don't have a way to put up on screen. Hey, are you still using the system? We'd have to. That is definitely actually an option because we have I/O that could tie into these motion or IR sensors. So we could do that.
1 hour, give us plenty of time, 1 hour.
Actually, you know what though? I was sitting here. Well, maybe it's just because I'm not moving very much, and I'm the only one in here. I was in here the other day, and all lights went off. I was like, "Whoa, power in the building! It's trippy." And I kind of went down and just, "Wow, they're not coming back on." And then I stood up, and all the lights came on. So that.
Right, didn't see movement for a half hour.
But my little head nods and typing wasn't enough to trigger it. But as soon as I stood up, I was like, "Oh, there's the power." Wait a minute.
15 minutes in the rooms, in the bathroom. Bathrooms are 15 minutes.
I think what's going to probably happen is that we're going to wait till we get done with these other rooms, and then when we start the Fusion process to get these online, we're going to sit down with John and say, John, what do you want us to do? Because but yes,
That's a lot of ways to go.
it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, they're meant to run long. These are long running. It's not hurting the projector, but it's certainly burning up dollars. It's burning up lamp hours. Any other question on setup in the room or other capabilities? You want to go back to Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, back, Troy. What do you?
I have a question. So you've got the swap and you're talking about the audio.
Yeah.
How about blanking the screens?
What about them?
You blank the screens, do they want the audio to
Oh,
source audio to stop?
let's see if that even happens.
Yeah, I would say yes.
You want the source audio to go away?
And comedians that she influenced. I mean, really, if it wasn't for Joan Rivers, we probably wouldn't have a Kathy Griffin. We probably wouldn't have a Sarah.
Is that what you want?
We probably wouldn't have an
I would think if you're
Schumer.
blanking
And
the
I urge
projector, you
people
want the
to find an article
It's
that
not a
Kathy
big deal.
Griffin wrote today about Joan Rivers.
I mean, what if you wanted to listen to something?
That's fine.
I don't know. Because you could also just hit mute on there.